Hello again. What we are going to cover today, this is a big section because this is going to lead us throughout this section and into our next unit, and that is talking about the coordinate plane. A lot of you should know what the coordinate plane is, so this should actually be a review for you guys. If you wanted to fast forward this, you can, because this is actually, you should know this. But let's review. So what we're going to cover today is all the parts of the coordinate plane. Okay, so from the origin, your quadrants, all of that. What kind of axis do you have? And we're going to be reading points. And of course, plotting points. Okay. And lastly, I really want to talk to you about intercepts. We're not going to get really in depth with that because we're going to talk about that later on when we get into our new unit. So we're going to cover these four things in this first little video. Okay, so let's start with the coordinate plane. We should all know where we have these two lines that cross, as you can see. We have these two solid dark lines that cross, and these are known as our axis. We have two, because we work in a two-dimension for right now in Algebra 1. The first axis, which is our major axis, we always talk about it first, which is our x-axis, and then we have our y-axis. If you always struggle with graphing, I suggest that you put this on your paper all the time. So label your x, label your y, it'll lessen your confusion. Okay? You should also know where both of these axes intersect right here. This is known as our origin. Okay, that's our origin. Okay, that's where both of them meet. This is also 0, 0. We'll get back to what that means here in a minute, but that's our origin. Okay, you should know that already. Next, we have our quadrants. We have 4 of them. If you can see how it's broken up into 4 different pieces. Okay, it's a big C, so think about the coordinate plane. It's made up as a C. So you start in this top upper right quadrant, and it is quadrant 1, and it's a Roman numeral 1. Because as you can see the regular numbers that we have here, so we have to use a different number system, which is Roman numerals. So we have quadrant 1, we have quadrant 2, keep going around to make that C, we have quadrant 3, and we have quadrant 4. Okay, so most of you should know that. All right. Next, let's go back to what we were talking about here. Every single point, so this is a point. We can also call this is also considered a coordinate, sorry. Okay, so some teachers will call it points, some teachers will call it a coordinate, and they're always made up of an x value and a y value. Okay? All right, let's talk about this relationship here. Okay, this is going to tell us where we need to go. This number here tells us where to go left or right. This number right here tells us where to go up or down. Okay? Okay, the next thing, let's actually start to use this. If I wanted to plot any points in this quadrant, what type of numbers will I have? Well, if I go towards the right, they're positive. As you can see, I have them written down. And if you go up, they're positive. So our numbers in this quadrant will always be positive, positive. In quadrant 2, if we go to the left, you always got to do your x values first. There'll be negative numbers followed by positive numbers to go up. Okay, let's go down here. What do you think? Well, if we go left, we're going towards the negative. And of course, if we want to go and plot something down here, we got to go down, which is also a negative. And lastly, we go to the right, it's positive. If we go down in math, it's always negative. Okay, so that should be a good review for you guys. The next thing I'm going to show you is how we're going to plot points and read points. All right, now that we looked at what the coordinate plane is and all of those basic concepts, the one other concept I did want to talk to you about And it kind of leads us right into what we're doing right now, is plotting points. So what if I gave you a point, I'm just going to put it up here. What if I gave you point A is located at 0, 4? Okay, remember every coordinate or every point is made up of an x value and a y value. Okay, remember we have to follow the x first because that's first in line, then we're going to talk about the y value. Remember x goes side to side and the y goes up and down. Okay, and a lot of you can actually relate this back to, I don't know if you've ever played a battleship game where to find a battleship you have to say, well, I need to go into over to quadrant A and then down to quadrant 2, and then hopefully that you hit a ship, you know. This is exactly what you're doing, but now we're doing it in math. Okay, we're just going to be plotting points here. We're going to be dropping a bomb. Okay, let's look at A, 0, 4. Where we always start, I always tell my students, I always start at the origin. That's the best way to go. So our x value is 0. So are we going to move left or right? No, it's 0. We don't move anywhere. Okay, so the next thing we got to take in consideration is 4. That's our y value. It's positive. So if it's positive, we start at the origin, then go up 4. I didn't move left or right. I just went up to 4. I always tell my students to label. Okay, always put your A right next to it. Pretty simple, right? Okay, let's try another one. What if I gave you something like B? Let's do -2, 0. All right, well, let's plot B. What is our x value? Well, our x value is -2, remember? So that's saying that we're going to need to move not to the right, but to the left, 2 spaces. Then are we going to move up and down? No, it's 0. We're not going to move up and down. So we're going to stay right on that axis. So start at the origin, go over to -2. Don't go up or down because it's 0. Go ahead and plot your point and label. Get into that habit. Okay? Why I plotted these 2 points, they're very important. It was that one topic that we need to talk about, and these are called intercepts. Okay. We will get more in depth about this. I'm just giving you a little run through of what it is. Later on, we're going to be actually making a line through this. So wherever a line goes through these axes, we call them intercepts. So if this was a line, so I'm going to make a fake line here. I'm just going to keep it dotted. This line crossed, what was the intercept? Well, it crossed the y-axis, okay, and this is going to be, I usually like to do y and then int at +4. And this line crossed the x-axis at, or the x-intercept, at -2. So just remember that an intercept is wherever the line or lines will cross the x-axis, okay? All right, so let's plot some more points. As you can see, I'm using this little board. This is a nice tool for you guys if you have it at home. All I did was I printed out, you'll see under the resource material that you can print out graph paper like this, and I also have the EOC paper. Okay, I'll also post that. Print it out, all I did was put it in a sleeve protector, and then I use these Expo markers, and you can draw on this all day long, just wipe it off with a piece of paper towel. Okay, so it'll be actually kind of nice for you guys to practice. Let's plot 2 more points, and then I'm going to get you to try some. How about we plot 2, -1, which is our C, and let's plot -5, -9, something nice and big. That'll be our D, and we'll call it a day. All right, let's plot C first. Always start at the origin. You got to decide, are we going to go to the left or to the right? Well, it's positive, so we go to the right, and then down 1, because that's a -1. Pretty easy, right? Sorry, there you go. Go to the origin, go over, and then down. Okay, next point is -5, -9. All right, start at the origin. Which way are we headed? That's right, we got to go to the left because it's negative. Then we're going to go